I just started. Okay, cool.
Whenever you're ready,
When you're ready.
All right, hey everyone, I am Blumenau, and my senior project was Millis Wear, a new line of Millis High School branded apparel that I sold through an online shop I set up. Now this was my essential question, and the goal, of course, was to design some new apparel for the school and sell it online. The e-shop was a very big part of this for me. But why did I choose this project? So a little personal background about me. First off, I'm very passionate about clothes. I like spending money on them, but I also care a lot about good design. And I've sort of hoped that I could improve on some of the designs that the school apparel already had, which is your standard school stuff. It says M on it, says Millis. Next year, I will be majoring in fashion business management with a focus on entrepreneurship. So this is something that I want to do for my career. And I was hoping that this would give me a little bit of real world experience. Although I actually have a little bit of e-commerce experience already, because as a hobby, I maintained a shop on the site Redbubble, which allows users to upload little images, and those get printed on t-shirts, stickers, whatever. And that, and that lets you kind of generate some revenue. So I actually made a decent chunk of money over a long period of time with that. So that brings me back to my essential question. And really, what you can see is my line of thinking here was, why are the t-shirts for the school kind of generic, and is there a way that I can use my skills and interests to build a better fundraiser? So first off, I needed a plan. Like I said, I pretty quickly decided that I would be using an e-commerce online shop and not do in-person sales, because for me to do an in-person sale, I would have to individually buy every one of these that I've sold and keep it in a box somewhere until someone bought them. And I didn't think that would be productive. It would be way too much money up front. And also these come in like a variety of sizes and things, so I didn't know where the interest would be for that, or for which would turn out to be the most popular. I decided pretty early on that I would be doing 4 t-shirts and 2 hoodies. One of my ideas was that I would do this athletics department hoodie and the arts department hoodie, and those could kind of complement each other. The 4 t-shirts, I figured I would do 2 white ones and 2 colorful ones. And like I said, I wanted to do designs that people would want to wear. This wasn't just like a standard school t-shirt. This was supposed to look like something that you could kind of find in like the mall, and it would be sort of a pop art style. I also wanted to have a distinct marketing campaign, which ended up being a lot of posters and very colorful images that I took around the school. I'll talk about all of those later. And of course, I had to support the arts department. Although I should clarify at this point that I was really just in this for the fun of the fundraiser, and this was very much my project. What I actually spent the money on was something that we didn't even decide until last week. So all of those goals fit into basically 3 categories: the designs, the website, and the promotion. The designs, like I said, I wanted a pop art look that was inspired by what you would see in an actual mall store. And it had to be, of course, achievable with my Photoshop skills, and it had to be compatible with the online print provider. The website, of course, had to support payments from customers, but it also had to look good. The same way that the shirts had to look good, the website had to look like the same as any store that you might find on the internet. I didn't want this to be like some sort of complicated order form situation, which sometimes comes up with these kind of school fundraisers. I wanted it to be very simple and easy. Just you put in your credit card, and one of these gets shipped right to your door. Then I needed to do the promotions to draw in the customers. That again had to be very sleek and modern looking to draw people in. And I wanted to feature high quality pictures of people kind of having fun. And I needed to find an option that I could actually afford. I couldn't just spend like thousands of dollars on an internet ad campaign. And so you can kind of see how these goals were all interconnected. You couldn't have the promotions and website without the finished product, but the product was only as good as the way it was sold. And all of these goals were actually apparent as early as like October when I first did the presentation. So I had to do all of these steps. And this was really just a lot of small steps where it was just kind of, I would see an issue and I would jump into it. All right, so here I want to talk for a little while about the designs that I did for all of these shirts, because I think a lot of people see like this finished product and they think like, oh wow, how'd you do that? There's like so many different parts to it. So I'm gonna kind of break down what goes into making one of these designs. So as you can see here in Photoshop, I have little groups with each portion of it. I don't know how well you can see from that distance, but for example, this is the TV1, that's just that small bit there. I knew for this design I wanted to do something with a graffiti look, and I like the image of old TVs, that kind of thing. This is what I call the grunge, because I kind of pictured it under like a flannel. So just looking at this one TV, that's actually all of these different layers. And I started with this stock image from a site called Pixabay, which has a ton of free stock images. I also got a couple from Adobe stock with our school accounts. But you can see I took that and added these like filters to it to make it look kind of black and white. I had to add some like silver stuff. There's all these different like shadows and overlays. Here I wrote Millis High School and I just put it over this like black and red gradient. And so that all comes together to kind of look like this, just that one element. And then for the other TV, this one I'm pretty proud of because it's actually a microwave. And I just did this picture of the TV and I put on this optical illusion, also a free stock image, also an actual optical illusion. Depending on the monitor and the angle that you're sitting at, it's actually moving. And so yeah, I did the same thing. I had to layer it together, and there's an effect called a perspective warp that lets you put it at an angle, slap that onto the microwave, and onto the TV. I also did the same thing with the speaker, and all that produces this finished design. And so you can see how those all kind of come together as like a collage effect. And you can see how it was kind of a big moment for me when this actually came in. I was pretty proud. Another design I want to show off is this arts hoodie. I'm not going to do all of these, but some of them. This, again, looks pretty intricate in its finished version, but it's really just a whole bunch of symmetrical shapes layered on top of each other. I started with this. I was going for an Art Deco kind of 20s look. I added some like hexagons to it. This took me a couple of different steps. I don't want it to seem like I just magically threw everything together, but this is like, just by drawing different shapes, this was the one that looked good. Then I added the more intricate detailing, and then when you finally have the text, all of a sudden it's a complete finished design, and yet it really is just these lines. And then for the complementary athletics hoodie, like I said, I wanted these two hoodies to complement each other. So if that was old school Art Deco, well, this should be like very modern, the kind of thing that you might see from like an athletic brand like Nike. It's actually inspired by the brand Off-White, but you can see it has this kind of like hazard looking stuff. It has a barcode that's just the letter M actually. And, it's really just a lot of like space filling text that's just designed to look very sharp because it's a clean font. And that's one of the shortcuts to good design that I found, was that if you have something in a nice looking font, that's like half the design right there. One of the things that I always like is this picture right here looks like sort of a very advanced like technical fiber or something, maybe like a muscle or whatever. It's actually another stock image that's just this like blue and gold decorative piece. But when you put it in white like that, it looks very advanced and sci-fi. And then this is a service called Printify, which is what I used to upload the design. I'll clarify all that in a minute. But basically, you can kind of see here that I was sort of restricted by a specific print area, and there's an ideal resolution for this kind of thing. And there was a range of colors. In this case, there were actually 27 different colors for this hoodie, so I could have made like a million of these things, but you can kind of see how there were like different options available to me. And in some ways that was limiting, and in some ways that was free. This is the one rejected design that did not make it. This is the secret seventh product. I wanted to go for an Indiana Jones look with that test, except that instead of having like a picture of like Indiana Jones like waving a gun or something, I just couldn't think of anything that would go there that would fit Millis. So instead I did the soda design that I did here. This is actually sort of the backup, fallback plan. And these are just some of the images that went on the other two shirts. And then, once all of those were finished, I had to upload them to Printify and then connect that to my storefront. And this is where it gets kind of technically complicated, so this is where we talk about the website. So just to keep this brief, there's a few different big platforms on the internet that handles e-commerce. You've seen ads for all these on TV. Shopify is the biggest one, though, by far. And I went with Shopify because they're a big player in something called dropshipping, which is essentially when the manufacturer or wholesaler of a product ships it directly to customers, and your storefront just acts as the middleman. They also have a lot of plugins, like for example, they work with a service called Printify, which is what I uploaded these designs to. So Shopify hosted the website, which is what you would have seen if you went online. They accepted the orders, and Printify would take those orders, print them, and ship them straight to customers, which saved me a lot of time. And like I said earlier, I wanted the website to have a lot of really solid design that would, again, look as good as any other shop you see. It might look complicated, but the truth is you can just kind of select elements in the Shopify website builder and just kind of paste them in. So you can just upload your images, upload your logo, give it the red background. This is like a really zoomed out view of all those pages. And again, you can kind of see how I had like different options for how I priced the product and how I, what shipping would cost, that kind of thing. To promote them, I was very big into this sort of Paxson American Apparel type look with that, again, with the clean fonts. I decided on 18 by 24 posters from Staples because they have to be cheap. This is the full run of posters. I knew that social media could be good for reaching students. I used Instagram a little bit. I didn't use Facebook very much, which is something of a missed opportunity because of the most public forum. But at the point that, or I didn't want to use Facebook because I don't use Facebook very often myself, and I would have felt sort of fraudulent just jumping on the internet. But to get all of these posters and images, we had to spend a lot of time taking hundreds and hundreds of images in like the art room and just in random places all over the building. I'm going to keep this brief because
do your thing.
And you can see my camera roll here. This is just ridiculous. Pictures of Matt Malloy here for the website. And all these different angles. This one is never used. But eventually, on March 1st, it was time to actually start the sales. There were, in the end, after 2 months, I was originally going to do just March, but I extended it to April at Mr. Carter's suggestion. In the end, I got total sales of nearly $1,500, which sounds really good, but only like a third of that was actually revenue, and then I had to take a lot of existing expenses out, like to pay for the website, to pay for all of these. So in the end, that actually ended up being a lot lower. I'll do the big deal at the end. Interestingly, I was kind of surprised that the variety ended up being the top selling product, because that was one of the ones that I actually didn't spend very much time designing compared to some of these other ones. But it actually, I think, suggests that people are more likely to buy a shirt if it's associated with like a cause or a club or an organization or something, because again, you see the arts week is very big. And so I think people have a sense of like, okay, I'll get that, I'll be donating to Millis Arts. I'm an art student, or I have kids who are art students. And this is the full set of orders. I'm not going to go more into detail because I don't want to leak anybody's like address or anything. You can see how if this was like a bigger company, there's just a lot of analytics data that's available for you to like find your customers and see where your revenue is coming from, see where your most popular products are. And like I said, on Printify, which links with Shopify, this gets a little confusing. Printify takes those orders, they print them and send them out, and so they're the ones that have the delivered status there. Alright, the results. I got 30 orders, each varied in products. Some people just got 1 shirt, some people got like 4 shirts. I think someone got the entire range. I only ended up with 262 after taking all those expenses out, but that is most of the price of the new GoPro camera, so that's what me and my mentor, Ms. Mannion, decided on getting. You can see how I got way more sales in March than in April. So missed opportunities, like I said, Facebook, I probably could have gotten more sales there if I'd been more active, but it just seemed unfamiliar to me. Senior project day, if I had this same display out on Lacey's day, that might have been helpful. Cash sales, some people have suggested that it would have been nice if they'd been able to buy them in person, and yet I kind of get the sense that people who wanted them just made it work. No one ever like contacted me like, oh, I wish I could just get one of these in cash. So, and like I said, I think a club association was very helpful. So maybe if all of these had been like related to some class or some organization or something. So was this successful? I'm very proud of all the designs. I'm proud of the posters. I'm proud of the website. I wish that there had been more orders, but we did make a profit, so I will say yes. Thanks to all my models. Thanks to Mr. Dickey, because he actually gave me the tape I needed to hang up the poster. And of course, thanks to everyone who bought something.